So I am here with my second robotic vacuum cleaner review. Now it's not something that I normally look at in the channel, but ILife reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to review this. Of course I did say yes. As you can see, I've got the unit here with me. So it's a smart vacuum cleaner in the sense that it doesn't have the mapping, so it's not one of those more advanced expensive models, but it has its own system. So it's got a gyro, the sensors, and it will in a way map out and know where it is at least. You can set it to do a more routine cleaning pattern and not the just typical automatic going all over the place. So a zigzag mode, it's got edge cleaning modes. It also has a mop, so you can mop floors with this as well. So here you have the washable mop and its container there you need to fill with water. So you replace this with the typical dustbin if you're not just vacuuming. So you can't unfortunately vacuum and dust at the same time. It's either one or the other. You need to decide on what you're doing. This of course is the charging pad here. So this is where it docks in. Automatically will dock into this to charge. And we've got a filter, a remote. So this is the remote, you can control it with this. So it doesn't have an application, it's not that advanced, it doesn't connect up via wireless or anything like that. Here is the power plug, the adapter there, European. Right here we just have another spare mop, so if you've got one in the wash, you can just add this one and put this one on it, of course. So under the vacuum you'll find 4 brushes there. So 2 you need to use now and then a spare set, as well as some AAA batteries for the remote and a cleaning tool. So setting it up is quite easy. All we need to do is just clip on here the brushes. So they're color coded, one for the left, one for the right. So you have to replace these eventually, they will wear out, the brushes. So on the left and the right here we have fall sensors. This is to of course stop it from falling downstairs. It will detect that and stop itself from doing that. 360-degree front wheel, the 2 charging connector pins there. Now you notice that the intake on this one is different. It's brushless, so it doesn't have a sweeper brush function. It literally just sucks, and that is it. This is both a pro and a con. Now why is it a con? Well, obviously it's not going to be as good on carpets because it's not going to be able to brush up things and sweep things off carpets and mats, and even hard floors as well. It's not going to be able to sweep up things as good. And the pro of this, of course, is it's not going to get tangled up and caught up with hair, so you don't have to keep cleaning it, and it also won't, hopefully, suck up cables and get cables stuck right in it. And the 2 wheels, they've got a nice tread pattern on here. It's a very soft rubber, so this won't have any problems with traction. It shouldn't slip and should be able to climb up obstacles of a centimeter or so without any problems. And they are spring loaded, of course. So just like other vacuums, the weight of the vacuum will then push that right down. So it will have contact with where it's sucking in, of course, and vacuuming. So removing the dustbin is very easy. You simply need to just press down here and this slots out. Now I was wrong about the filter. It's actually not a washable filter here. So you could see that as a bit of a con. At least it's going to have good filtering performance, because normally the washable ones, you'll find that they only remove about 95% of dust particles and things there. And that's quite easy to access. You simply just lift this up and then you can replace that filter, and you can of course take out the other filter parts there. This also is a removable, change that out. This you can wash. So you cannot wash the dustbin, and there's a big reason behind this, because it does actually house the motor in there. So if you submerge that in water, you will of course kill the motor. And to empty the dust, there's a couple of magnets holding this flap here. Just pull that open and you can tip out all the dust that's inside there. So on the right of the V8S, we have a power switch and even a DC in there for charging if you weren't going to be using that dock. Along the front here, your typical bump sensor. So this has a nice soft rubber along here, and if it does bump into things, it will detect that and reverse back. There's also sensors located in here too to help with obstacle avoidance. So I'll quickly run over the controls. It's very straightforward. So you've got start and pause your cleaning. Right here you have the zigzag cleaning option. You've got return to home, which is your dock to charge. This is for the timer setup, so if you've got the time. Right now I need to set that time up, and it's very easy. Just simply need to hold the button down, and then with the arrow keys up and down, go through and set your time. And this is the spot cleaning mode. Now the LED on the top there will tell you the day, so you can schedule cleaning. You can have it going every day at a certain time, and will also indicate your remaining battery life too. And then the remote is really the same kind of thing. So you've got your different cleaning modes. You've got your edge cleaning, your spot cleaning mode, your zigzag cleaning. Here you've got the control to start and pause, return home to charge, and this is for controlling it. If you wanted to manually control the vacuum, so you can angle it and move it around and direct it towards where, for example, you've got something spilt on the ground, then you can do that. Very basic here and straightforward. So when you switch over to mopping, one of the big cons here is it's not going to be able to vacuum and mop at the same time like some other robot vacuum cleaners. So you simply need to just lift this up, add your water here, 300 milliliters. So now for the performance test here, I'm taking 60 grams of rice and noodles, and I'm going to see how much each of the vacuum cleaners here will collect with their spot cleanup mode. Starting out now with the ILife V8S with the spot cleanup mode, let's see how much of the 60 grams it will pick up. So you can see it's flicking a lot away due to the brushes, of course. It's something that happens on all vacuums. Alright, so it's finished. It thinks it's done the job. There's quite a bit left, but let's measure now and see how much it collected. So I managed to collect 45 grams. Now the Roborock version 2 spot cleanup mode. Okay, so that's a real surprise there. Look at how much it left. It left a little less here, but let's measure it now and see how that compares to the V8S. Okay, so that one managed to pick up 52 grams, more or less. You could add maybe another half a gram because some of it's spilt out. So that was a difficult test for any robotic vacuum cleaner because the brushes, they tend to flick around things like rice and noodles. That's why I tested it. So the more expensive Roborock version 2, which retails for about 500 US, managed to collect 52 grams out of the 60, so it did an excellent job there, really good. Not quite as good as I thought it could have done because it stopped, as you see, in the middle and it didn't actually finish collecting up everything. Now the more budget-orientated V8S from ILife, that only picked up 45 grams of the 60, but I still feel for half the price that it did a reasonably good job considering that this is a very difficult test and it does have those two brushes at the front. So like all robotic vacuum cleaners, that when it gets to an edge, for example a staircase, that it will stop itself. So because it doesn't have the brush in the middle, that means it's not so great at carpets at sweeping off bits of dirt and stuff. But it does save you from the problem of having threads and pieces of hair getting stuck in the brush, causing you to have to clean it about once a week. And like any robotic vacuum, that certain items like rugs, for example, that have an edge to them may cause the robot vacuum to get stuck. Now when it comes to the cleaning mode, the automatic mode that you would normally use, the scheduled mode, it's not very intelligent. Like at first you think, oh, it's going to plan things out, it will go around the edges first, but then what happens, it will cross over half of the room, then it will actually double back on where it's already been. So it's not the smartest and nowhere near as good, of course, as the robotic vacuum cleaners that can map out rooms and know exactly where they are and where they have been. So just like my Xiaomi, the mopping function on these robotic vacuum cleaners is not really that great. As soon as you put the water in, you will start to see some drops coming out. So there's 3 tiny little droplet holes there where it will slowly let the water out. And it, just like the vacuuming mode, will go randomly over the floor. So it doesn't pick up any stubborn stains. So if you have dried on coffee, then it's not going to be able to lift or remove that, for example. And it does a very light job. So it's not wonderful, the mopping mode, but you do see a little bit of dirt that it does pick up. So it is something at least, but it cannot vacuum at the same time and mop. So once the vacuum has finished its cleanup, it will simply return home to dock and recharge itself. Against my Xiaomi, I did a reasonably good job, I feel. Not quite as good, but the main thing is here, this costs half the price of that one. Now, it doesn't have this super smart features, so there's no wireless notifications, you can't control it remotely, you can't be at work and get it to clean. But of course, you can put on the schedule, so you have a scheduled time for it to run, and it's really easy to set up. It's not hard at all. The controls are very basic with the remote, but that's really all you need. And the performance in general with cleaning the corners, okay, it will sometimes miss some areas. And I feel too, because it doesn't have the main brush in the middle, which is sweeping and scraping stuff off the floor a little, it's not going to be quite as good at removing more stubborn, stuck on bits of dirt. And carpets, of course, this is not going to be that great. However, it's also a bit of a pro too as well, because it's not going to get tangled up with hair. You don't have to do any maintenance on a middle brush. So that's one thing less to maintain. Now the container, the dust collection, 750 milliliters. That is pretty good. Not bad at all. That's a really good capacity. That's a lot more than my expensive Xiaomi. It means I don't have to empty it so frequent there. And the mopping feature. So the mopping feature, again, like my Xiaomi, it's not good really. If you've got something like stuck on dried coffee that you spilt 3 days ago, you just didn't have time to clean it up, then it will pass over it and it's literally only going to remove a tiny fraction of that stain there. So you still have to manually mop your house, I feel. They're not there. I hope one day that they will apply pressure with the mops. I hope it will have one day an orbital system of mopping and scrubbing at the same time. That'll be great, but we're not there yet, and definitely not at this price of about 250 US. There were other things as well. Okay, the noise, 68 decibels. It's pretty loud. Working time of 100 minutes, that's good. And also the charge time is more or less typical. So it's between about 3 to 4 hours. It's nothing amazing. It's not a super fast charger, but it's only going to be operating once during the day normally. And if you've got a massive house, then there is going to be that large gap where it has to go back and charge and then continue. So you do have to really factor that in. So is 100 minutes going to be enough for your house? I feel it should be for most places, at least most areas that this will be working. So all in all, for the price, I do feel that the V8 is a good vacuum. Now it's not perfect for carpets and it's not as fast and as efficient as the mapping ones, but overall very decent. Thank you so much for watching this vacuum review. If you'd like to see more vacuum reviews, perhaps, let me know. I can get in touch with manufacturers that they may possibly send me a review unit so I can check out more. And I hope you liked the review, and I do hope to catch you back in the channel. Bye for now.